Can the Hoosiers stay perfect on Saturday in East Lansing? Can Michigan State shock Hoosier Nation? Well, let's talk about it in this Locked On crossover. Let's go.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Now customers can place a $5 bet and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Spartan friends, Spartan family, also Hoosier Nation. Excuse me, Jacob. Undefeated Hoosier Nation.
Thank you.
We're going to throw some respect on your name right now. Let's make this formal right now. Folks, it's a Locked On crossover. What's up, everyone? It's Matt Sheehan of Locked On Spartans. Over there, Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. And Jacob, is that sweat I see in your forehead? Are you nervous for this one?
Whoa. I haven't said that yet. I haven't said I'm nervous yet, but maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I guess people have to stick around to find out. What an exciting matchup this is. I mean, it's a Michigan State team that I feel like people have just written off and forgotten about, but I think they're better than what people thought they were going to be. And Indiana, I mean, humbly to say, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest stories in college football.
I would not dispute that whatsoever. And I think you guys are legit too. Not just to barter your biscuit or, all the Hoosier fans listening just to try to get more people to, like our side of things. But truly, obviously, Jacob, the schedule isn't a murderer's row by any stretch of the imagination, but it's double-digit victory after double-digit victory. Like, when's the last time you guys had to kind of sweat one out in the fourth quarter? I can't even remember. It has looked dominant, at least from the outside looking in. Does it really feel like it has been this dominant and that you guys are a bona fide 15 team? Or take me through the world of a straight up Hoosier fan?
Yeah, for anybody that has, lived under a rock, had better things to do on a Saturday and not watched Indiana play, this team is legit. And look, as you said, the schedule is not world beating. It's not record breaking. It's not going to make the nightly news. Mm-hmm. But after, I think, the first 5 games or so, maybe even after the first 6 games, people finally started to at least watch or at least have it on the 3rd or 4th screen on a Saturday. Yep. And people were like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. This team is actually legit. They're actually good. They're actually talented. And the guy that I throw under the bus every single week right now is Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College. He texted me and he said, dude, they're actually good. And I was like, I've been trying to tell you on the squad shows, man. Nobody wants to listen. And so I think everybody has gotten a taste of that now where it's, wow, Indiana has a quarterback. They have an offensive line. They have 2 running backs that are dynamic at what they do. And the defense has been one of the best in the country, Matt. They have yet to give up a single point in the first quarter. That's what Indiana does. And Curt Cignetti's the real deal. If you don't know who he is, just Google him. You'll find him.
Just Google him. Yeah. Nothing has aged better from the offseason than the just Google me quiz.
Isn't that awesome? It's so amazing. And it's who he is. He's just he's like, yeah, I'm a bad dude. I know it. And I made Indiana football good. What are you going to do about it?
Let me just get this out of the way right now. How annoying is it as a Hoosier fan? Because obviously a season of a lifetime right now, no question about it. How annoying is it to just hear already people talk about like, oh, is he going to take a Florida job? Like, oh, or is he going to take an SEC? Like, is that easy to block out? Or is it truly annoying? Seriously, that's got to be just mind-numbingly annoying, right?
Yeah, our boy Brandon down at Locked On Gators is being like, "Yep, he's the next Florida coach."
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
Shut up. It's funny because most Indiana people haven't. I don't think we've worried about it just yet because, man, it's year 1. Like, he just got here. And I think Curt Cignetti really does love Indiana. I really think he enjoys what he's built here in this very short amount of time. And, man, if this thing goes as far as we think it can go, why would he leave? He's got one of the greatest build-up success stories going in the history of college football right now.
Certainly. Yeah, there's no question about it. And, let's just flip it to this game really quick because I think it was fascinating that the spread comes out at -7, and not to make it a whole gambling segment, but usually by and large, Jacob, when you look at the S&P Plus numbers, it's not a perfect science, but those numbers are kind of close more times than not. S&P Plus has you guys somewhere around winning by 14, 15, or 16 points. We're off by more than a touchdown between the spread and the S&P Plus numbers. So I'm going to just assume blindly that you think Indiana's going to win. I think Indiana's going to win too. We'll get to our predictions later, I guess. But are you more of like you think it's going to be a no-doubter like S&P Plus thinks, or are you more of a, no, this could be within a touchdown at day's end?
I think there's just so many factors before Saturday gets here, Matt, from the Indiana side and from the Michigan State side that I'm still up in the air about it. I think the result is not imminent or evident or whatever you want to say there. I don't think it's a given, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think there are a lot of question marks and a lot of things to still be learned about Indiana and Michigan State before I'm comfortable saying, oh, yeah, Indiana is going to win their 9th straight double-digit win. Like, I don't feel comfortable saying that yet because of the schedule, because of injuries, because of just new things and a night or afternoon game, I guess, there in East Lansing, right? It's just there's a lot of factors here. And I'm curious on what you think. I mean, are you thinking Michigan State? Is it a disrespect thing on Michigan State?
Ooh, we do like our disrespect over here. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's one of the calling cards going back to the D'Antonio era. So I'll take that, actually. Yeah. That's right. Take your numbers, S&P Plus. That's right, Bill Connolly. And shove it! Because we will keep the within single digits. That's right, baby. No, it is incredibly hard to win by double digits week in and week out. I was actually shocked, and I'm rolling back the clock here. Longer than I'd like to admit it, but the 2013 Michigan State team, they won the Rose Bowl. It was great. They were the first team ever in Big Ten history to win all their Big Ten games by double digits. And I think there's only been one, if not two teams to do it ever since. It is rare, as good as you are to just run the table like that. So with that, Michigan State has shown that they can bounce back from tough times. And obviously last week was a tough game, both emotionally and physically. I think that it can be, especially at home. I do take a lot of stock in that. I think it can be a single-digit game by the end. So I'm going to go more with the spread here than I am the S&P Plus. So
okay,
yeah, that's just because I hate math and big, confusing numbers. But no,
I work in intervals of 3, man. That's about all I got. That's all we get at this side, man. I'm if it's not 3, if it ain't divisible by 3 or 5, then I don't want to touch it.
Are you already there with college football playoff talk, though? Like, because I was going to say, like, okay, if you win this game, what does that mean? Like, do you start believing in college football playoff? But I guess, like, how could you not already be thinking it, right? Or am I jumping the gun on my end?
No, I mean, it's legitimate. I think a lot of people, myself included, we are hesitant to mention it just because of weird voodoo, I guess.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
The Ohio State game still exists, right? That is the one game that we are having circled. Not since the beginning. That would be a lie because everybody, myself included, everybody at Locked On Hoosiers, we wrote that game off. It was like, what can we do other than the Ohio State game? But now it's like, man, if we beat Michigan State, if we beat Michigan, then we have the Ohio State game and everything is in front of us. So there's still a long way to go, especially with Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State still in front of us in in the AP polls. So playoffs are on the horizon, but we're taking this one game at a time, and that starts with Michigan State.
That's what I'm talking about. And actually, I just got off the phone with Tony Petitti, Big Ten commissioner, before he hopped on, and he offered me a deal that he wanted me to relay to you, Jacob. So MSU, we get to win this game Saturday. If that means you guys get a Big Ten championship in the sport of basketball coming up this season, do you take that trade right here, right now? That's right. Take as long as you want to answer that question or as short as you want it. He just called. It's crazy timing on his part, I got to say. I know.
I don't think I'm allowed to answer that. Because I'm going to make somebody mad because basketball is longing for it, but football has never been at that spot. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is, again, the most historic year we've ever seen for Indiana through 8 games. So I'll let the fans decide.
That is what we call making him sweat, folks. That's what I'm talking about. Now, Jacob's going to make me sweat on the other side of this because he's going to grill me about Michigan State, talk about our Spartans, and then we'll, third segment, of course, flip the script. I'm going to roast him about Indiana. But first, I need to talk everyone's ears off about 5 Hour Energy. Our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. It takes a lot of energy to power through an all-day tailgate, touchdown celebrations, and then, well, the agonizing second overtime. That is why they created the Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy Shot with a special flavor called Fan Fuel. The energy shot made just for fans like us, Jacob. The fans who are just the first in the parking lot and the last ones to leave. We see you. You know what else gives me a little bit of energy, a little bit of fan fuel for this week? Well, it's just the idea that, you know what, Aidan Chiles can keep a game spicy. Exciting, if not for nothing else, for better or for worse,
Wow.
Jacob. Yeah, you like your little steady offense over there, the one that always hums along, never has a turnover. It is
Just
Russian
keeps
roulette
on
over on
moving.
our side, baby. It is a hoot and a half. So that is what the FanFuel is all about. 5 Hour Energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. Whether you are prepping for the big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why you have the limited edition Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy shot right here to help you keep fueled throughout the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with 5 Hour Energy, available on 5hourenergy.com, shipped nationwide. Also, guys, game day approaching. You already know it. HomeField apparel is on the body. We're talking their t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, crew neck sweatshirts, their hoodies. Just got a package in the mail last week. Got myself a nice crew neck sweatshirt. 2 more just buttery soft t-shirts. Truly the most comfortable clothing you will have in your wardrobe will come from HomeFieldApparel.com. Cannot wait to rock that for more game days. Now, if you're not hit to HomeFieldApparel.com, first of all, sorry you're late to this train, but it's never too late to hop on. What they have, vintage logos. Like right now, rocking my 2000 National Championship t-shirt. They have logos that you may have never seen in the history of Michigan State before. How is that even possible? Well, they talk to historians. They comb through old programs. They find logos and emblems that you will not find anywhere else. And let's say for some reason, well, you're more than a Michigan State fan. Like, for example, I got some sweet Arizona State, Miami shirts. I got a hoodie from Hawaii. They've got it all hooked up at HomeFieldApparel.com. They also want to hook you up with some savings when you enter promo code Spartan24. That's all one word, Spartan24. It's going to get you 15% off of your first purchase at HomeFieldApparel.com. Again, guys, Spartan24 at HomeFieldApparel.com. All right, Jacob, I'm in my hot seat right now. I'm ready to talk about my Spartans. Last week is in the past, and
Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. No, we're getting there, my friend. We're getting there. So let's run through this thing really quickly because, as I mentioned, this is a Michigan State team, right? 4-4 overall, 2-3 in conference play.
Yeah.
First question, right off the rip: are they better than the record shows?
I think so, because 2 of those games are Oregon and Ohio State, 6 days apart. And look, those games could have been 36 days apart. That still would have been the same outcome. But I like to add that little bonus in there just to cry and whine a little bit. But I think they are a little better than their record shows. With that said, we still have some issues here. I like the turning the ball over. Big issue. Red zone offense, equally as big of an issue. So, at the end of the day, you are what your record is. But having those 2 games in there very close together did not do us any favors here, I would like to say.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of derails what most people would want to say is like, man, you started 3-0 and then it just went to hell, right? What happened here in Sparty land? But yeah, people are forgetting that you played number 3 Ohio State and number 6 Oregon, but then you bounced back really nicely against Iowa. And I'll be completely honest, I watched that game and I'm thinking, that's the last thing we need is Michigan State to build a little momentum coming into the Indiana game. And they went, and they just dropped that on the side of the road and kept on driving.
Not great. And that Iowa game was the best I've seen Michigan State play in 3 years. And Jacob, I'm not going to say it was a lot of emails.
3 years.
We got some questions, though. We talked about college football playoff for you guys in the first segment. We got some people saying, like, hey, if we went out 9-3, can we backdoor our way into the college football playoff? I let myself get past the Michigan game before even talking about it. But the answer would have still been a defiant no. But nevertheless, Jacob, for the first time in a long time, we were excited because we saw competent football. We saw a run game. We saw a run game last week, but unfortunately, some penalties got us not in a nice place. I want to keep this G-rated for the families listening. So, and just an untimely turnover, as if there's ever a time for a turnover. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just rambling here.
Well, that's the thing.
Been a hard week. It's been a hard week. I'm sorry.
It seems like it, especially not only did you get the win over Iowa and then turn around and lose.
So good.
You lose to Michigan. And I know that's a sore spot up there, right? I mean, that's not cool.
A little bit. Yeah, look, last year it is what it is. Like, we had a horrendous team. They had a great team. 49-0. Was it fun? Absolutely not, but you can understand how that happens. What hurts the absolute most with last week's game is that's just point blank. This isn't me being a hater. This is just me being an objective watcher of college football. That's not a good Michigan team. Right, I don't think I'm going out of bounds saying that. I know it's going to upset a few Wolverines fans, but
what are you talking about? They're the greatest team I've seen all year. They're so good.
Win it all. They got jobbed in all those games they've already lost. No, that's what hurts the most is that this was an incredibly winnable game. Felt like you were on the same level as them, even though you're in year one of a rebuild. They're in year one of a whatever they want to call it after the national championship. It was just that's what really had me sleeping for 30 minutes each night here, Jacob.
Yeah, that's tough. But what's not tough is the excitement of a guy you mentioned earlier.
Hey, now.
Right?
Let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
This guy is electric on the field. He's either electric good or he's electric bad, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the ratio? 7-9 touchdown interception ratio? Is that what we're looking at right now?
That sounds about right. We were the third worst team at turnovers amongst Power 4 teams not too long ago.
So walk us through that. How has that all happened for Indiana fans that haven't watched much Michigan State football? Tell them how that goes down.
Completely valid question. It was a horrendous start to the season as far as the turnovers go. Of course, I think there was 3 against Florida Atlantic. They had 3 against Boston College. It has been a slow and steady improvement week to week. I mean, it's not to say that it's completely out of the system now. Just go watch the end of the first half against Michigan. Cost up a fumble. Michigan turns that to 3 points. All the momentum in the world goes their way. But it was decision-making with the ball. He is physically gifted. He has great legs. He's got a powerful arm. And I do this all the time when I play Madden, and I suck at Madden, Jacob. Like, if I have a dual-threat quarterback, I'm running around, and I'm trying to make something out of absolutely nothing. And what's that? The team is running the other way with the ball now, and I'm actually down 49-7. But no, he had a little bit of that with him early on, is that, thinking that he could make every play. He knows he can't now. He is a little smarter with his decision-making. Again, not a finished product, but it is getting a little better at least. So a lot of them came early in the season. Fortunately, still around a little bit. But, yeah, that's the skinny with one Aidan Chiles.
And he is the third leading rusher on the team, so he does have that rushing ability. And I think that's what Indiana – somebody asked me this the other day. And in terms of a, dual threat, for air quotes for those audio listeners, dual threat quarterback, Indiana hasn't seen that a whole lot. Dylan Raiola was really the only good one we saw, and we kept him in check really, really good. So that's what a lot of Hoosiers fans are wondering is he a threat to hurt you with his legs if the play breaks down?
He is, and especially, if the pocket breaks down. And our pass protection has been fine so far this season. I'm not going to call it the best. It's certainly not the worst. But, when that collapses, we've seen him extend plays, just to get the ball downfield many a times. Now, this was something they did in the 2 games before the Michigan game, is that they actually did designed runs for him. Forgot the exact numbers, but I think it was somewhere around like a dozen total designed runs. It was pretty productive. Whereas the start of the season, they didn't really do a lot of that. I think that was to preserve his health because the season's only going to go as long as Aidan Chiles can go. So, but when it's crunch time, when he's got to start winning games to get to a bowl game, they started to uncork that a little bit. So you will see a little bit more of designed runs by him, but yeah, he really makes his hay by, oh man, just when you think you got him in the pocket, not so fast, my friend. Now, does he pass it to a receiver? Or does he pass it to someone else? Is the $1 million question. But hey, he's been getting better at finding a receiver at least. So I'll take it.
I'm glad you've already accepted the fact of what he is. I'm really proud of him.
I love him. I mean, look, and I get a lot of flack from Michigan State fans being like, "Hey, your guy Aidan Chiles, like you got to cut the turnovers down. It's too much." But it's like, has anyone else watched Michigan State football the last few years? Like, do you understand how drastically better this situation is? Like, or does anyone else watch football around the country on a Saturday? Like, this kid, yes, well, he does make some turnovers. He also has some throws that you will only see on Sundays. Like, he is human cryptocurrency, Jacob. That's what I've been telling our fans the entire season. It's volatile. It's it's crazy.
What a way to describe your quarterback.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
That's unique.
It's fun. Yeah.
It's also inconsistent. Is that a fair?
You are in a Yacht in the Caymans one series, and then the very next one, you are in the soup kitchen line. It's tough.
Speaking of inconsistent, the defense for Michigan State, the one that's going to be going up against what seems to be a high-powered Indiana offense, one that we still don't know as of right now who the quarterback's going to be. I'm sure we're going to get to that in the next segment. But for Hoosiers fans, defensively for Sparty, what do they throw at you? What will they show? What can they stop the run? Because Indiana's got 2 workhorses back there that they will rely on time and time again.
They can, but what scares me is that I see a lot of similarities with the way Indiana structures their offense with Oregon, okay? And by that, I mean, spread it out. You can't throw 7 guys in the box. You have to, you have to be a little disciplined on just everything else that could go on outside the tackles, okay? And that did not work against Oregon whatsoever in the slightest bit. So, yes, we can stop the run. I just don't know if this is a game where we can do it, just based on how many players are spread out. And also Jordan Turner, he got a targeting call second half last game. He will be suspended for the first half of this one. So, look, he's not a first-team All-Big Ten linebacker, but he's certainly the best we've got. I think that also plays a factor in this one, too. So I am a little nervous about how we do stop this offense, primarily in the first half, too. It's not your Iowas. It's not your Michigans where you know what you're going to get. Unfortunately, you guys get horizontal and vertical in football, which
we can kind of do it all. We can kind of do it all. And look, I've had my fun, Matt. I've had my fun. I've got my information on you. It's time to come at me. Get whatever you need. I'll tell you whatever you need to know about this Indiana football team. But get a break in, and we'll do that on the other side.
I would say, but first, I got to talk to people's ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook. You already heard us talk about the spread a little bit at the time of recording. Jacob's Hoosiers, that's right, 7-point favorites at Spartan Stadium. If you're liking the green and white in this one, if you're liking the cream and crimson over there, is that what you guys call yourselves, cream and crimson? I'm not blurring lines, right? Okay, perfect.
Yep, you got it.
All right, I'll edit all that part out. Get in with the action over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You will get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So what are you waiting for? That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Again, guys, FanDuel.com. It's Kurtis Rourke, right? Like, we could just cut the shenanigans. He's fine. He's never been better, actually. He's going to carve every team up the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's just going to continue his Heisman campaign. Don't worry about it.
Good. Thanks. Appreciate that. Let's actually talk about the two running backs right here, because I feel like they don't get enough love. You hear things about the defense. Oh, my God, they're good. Kurtis Rourke, of course, good. But what is going on with the running backs? Is it a lightning thunder situation? Is it just, oh, my God, everyone's just very good in the same way? Take us away.
Yeah, so you've got two guys in the backfield right now, Justice Ellison and Tyson Lawton. It's Tyson, 2 words, 2 names, not Tyson, Tyson Lawton. And they are just 1A and 1B, right? A lot of times you like to say, one's, the lightning quick, super fast, but don't want to get tackled because he's on the scrawnier side. And it's typically, you got your bowling ball in the backfield. But while that is the case to an extent, they both run just really, really hard, really physical. And when they get in the open field, they can show their speed. But before you talk about these two guys, you have to talk about the offensive line. That has been one of the best run blocking teams in America. The holes that they're creating are just unbelievable. And the sets that Indiana runs, right, Matt, they don't just put 5 offensive linemen, block straight forward, create a hole, and hope the guy runs up the middle. They pull guys so many different ways, and they get downfield, and they pick up the extra blocker in the second level to allow the running backs to get 10, 12, 15 yards, and that extends drives. And what's awesome about Indiana, and it's scary at times, but they've proven that they can do it, is 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Oh, that's a throwing down in football, right? Nope. Indiana does not care. Here you go, Lawton. Take it away, sir. And if you don't pick it up, they'll just do the same thing again. They don't care, and they are so good at that. And so between Ellison and Lawton, I just think you have two guys that are always fresh, always ready, and their football IQ is over the top extreme. And so they are the ground and pound game. Indiana wants to run the football. As good as Kurtis Rourke has been, and even as good as Taven Jackson has been in the last 6 quarters, he came in at halftime and played the second half against Nebraska. Indiana wants to start by running the football. They're going to chew up clock. So for any opponent that plays us, that being Michigan State this weekend, possessions are everything. And Indiana can score on theirs, and other teams have to try and keep up.
That's what Michigan State tried last week. They tried to, keep the ball in their possession. They really made it a 2.5-hour game on Big Ten Network. So if you guys want to be home by 6 o'clock, this might be the game for you. But
I'm cool with that.
You say, 3rd and 6, they run it. If they don't get it, well, they're going to try it again. And that made me think, something I read recently is that you guys are one of the more aggressive teams in football, especially when it comes to, going for it on 4th down. Is that something that you could back up to? Should we be expecting a healthy dose of that coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cignetti and his staff, they look at the analytics quite a bit, but they also call the game off of momentum and feel and just kind of the what is it, the sway of how the game is going. And look, if we're running the ball really well and we're inside, if we're on the other side of the field and we're on like the 40 or the 45 and it's a few yards to pick up on fourth down, there's a good chance Indiana's going to go for it. And not that the field goal kicker's not good, right? We got a great guy back there. He just hasn't kicked it a whole lot, man. I got to get an update. He's kicked 5 field goals this year, Matt. 5 through 8 games.
Jeez, man.
Our dude has kicked 5 field goals all season long, and he's made all 5 of them, and is perfect on PATs. So if that doesn't answer your question, then I don't know what will. We don't kick field goals in Bloomington. We score touchdowns.
Well, good God, that's the complete opposite of what we got over here, because Jonathan Kim just kicked 5 field goals in a single game against Iowa because we couldn't get it done in the red zone.
Radicic is the man. He is on it. And, I mean, we love to see him, but I couldn't pick him out of a lineup because you never do see him. He's only out there for PATs. It's
the best problem to have I've ever heard in my entire life. Look at you. You guys are just feeling yourselves over there. And why wouldn't you? This is good for you guys. Why is Kurtis Rourke so good? I know this is like the worst, most broad question of all time, but like, what is it that he does really well above anything else?
I think he's a genius. I think it's what it comes down to. It's that Ohio education that he got at the Bobcats of OU and playing a little action on a Wednesday night, right? And that's what I've screamed this to everybody that would listen. I just think he was the best thing that was hidden in Maction. Nobody talked about him. Nobody was highlighting him. Nobody was hyping him up. And when he was in the portal, not a whole lot of people jumped on him. But Curt Cignetti did. When he left James Madison, he said, hey, I like you. Come be my quarterback, and we're going to make this thing work. And that's just what he's done. When his name and number is called, he delivers, and he doesn't turn it over hardly ever. Indiana's one of the best teams in the country at not turning the football over. And some of his passes are Sunday level. You talked about that for Michigan State. Kurtis Rourke's got the same thing going, man. Some of these back shoulder throws and sideline out routes are just beautiful to watch. And I don't know what these guys did in the offseason to get so in sync, but there are hardly any communication breakdowns, which is rare with a team that has so many transfer guys, including a transfer quarterback. But that's what Kurtis Rourke does, is he knows when to throw. He knows when to hand it off. He can take off and run if he has to. And he just flat out makes the right decision. And he's got this thing rolling, and he's so confident, as is the entire team. And we're starting to float around that Heisman word for Kurtis Rourke. If he can get back to playing, he can get back to playing and get healthy again with the thumb issue he's got going on, I do think there's a chance he could be sitting in New York.
Get a nice little win over Ohio State. That's late in the season, just perfect for the buzz. Look, not to be a total simp right now, but I'll join the train. I think you guys are a very rootable team. Outside of this Saturday from 3:30
America's team.
Yeah, outside of roughly 3:30 to 7. You guys are a rootable team, but you know what? I got one more question on the offense, because you guys have 4 receivers that have at least 20 catches. Is there like a go-to guy? Because over here in East Lansing, it's pretty simple. It's true freshman Nick Marsh is a go-to guy if you need a big play out of a receiver. Is there any alpha, or is it just a pretty shared responsibility?
I think if you're looking for just get a catch and move the chains or get some yards, I think it's Elijah Surratt. But if you're like, hey, we need a dude to get to the end zone, it's Omar Cooper. Like, that seems to be the given as of now, but both of them are just fine in the roles that are reversed of that. But those two guys, you're going to hear their names quite often. They go to them time and time again. So receivers, Surratt and Cooper. Running backs, Ellison and Lawton. And if it is the quarterback, you know his name by now, Kurtis Rourke. But if it's not, it will be Taven Jackson, who could see some action depending on the status of Rourke before the game, during the game, or however it plays out. So just keep those guys in mind.
I did not know that fun little nugget about the defense. Obviously, I knew the defense was extraordinary. You're not undefeated because you have a horrible defense. But to not surrender a point in the first quarter is something.
Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible. So what makes the defense so good? Are you guys just playing with 13 people and have gotten away with it the entire season? Or what is stirring the drink over there?
It's kind of the same thing as the offense, and this is a lazy answer, but I think it just speaks to what Curt Cignetti has done with the guys underneath him. No communication breakdowns, all on a string, and just discipline, I think is the best way to describe it, because the defensive line is solid. I'm not going to say they're the best in the league, but I think they're very, very good, and they put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks and make them make plays. And then between the linebacker core that's led by Aiden Fisher, who is going to be on national award list by the end of the season. He can do it all. Rush the quarterback, spy, zone, coverage, doesn't matter. He's got it. And then you have the National Defensive Player of the Week in D'Angelo Ponza from a week ago. 2 interceptions, a pick 6 to start the game against Washington. He's the one roaming back there just waiting on a bad pass. So, yeah, you got dudes all over the place at all 3 levels of this defense. And, again, they don't make stupid penalties. They force turnovers, and they get off the field. That sets up for a pretty successful football team, Matt.
How beautiful was the camera work there on that pick 6? Just zooming out the entire that was
it was so good.
That was,
and for the Big Ten Network, I was really impressed.
They should win it, I mean, for that shot alone.
Fans are going crazy. The stadium was actually sold out, which has been sold out all year long, but they actually filled it this Saturday. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
What talking heads will we be, Jacob? Without offering predictions then this one, let's just get everyone in the weekend. You can hear the enthusiasm in my voice right now. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. Nothing could make me happier than being wrong on Saturday, actually. But I'll just give mine. It's 31-23 Hoosiers.
31-23. So you are sticking to your guns. You do think Michigan State keeps it close, huh?
Yeah, you guys cover, but it's single digits.
I'm going to say 31-18. I think it will be close until the fourth quarter. I think Indiana will get a score in the beginning of the fourth quarter. Defense comes up with a stop or a turnover to end the game. We run out the clock and we walk out of Sparty. But I'm just telling you, myself, I can't speak for the rest of the fans right now. I'm still a little nervous about the game. As soon as we're out of there with a win, I'll be okay, and then everything's in front of us. But a road game in the Big Ten, late afternoon, getting into the sun going down, I've seen weirder things.
On Peacock, too. There's a lot of weird voodoo around that, too.
Oh, I forgot. Oh.
I haven't. Oh. We've played on absurd stations so far this year, man.
Sorry. We're just used to playing on ESPN, College Game Day. Sorry. We don't. Sorry.
It's fine. No, it's our next game's on Quibi, I think, and then we got to play on
ESPN
C-SPAN
Deportes and the Ocho and, E-News.
You do the show during basketball season, Jacob?
Oh, yeah.
Hey. See you then. That's what I'm talking about. Folks, that's Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers over here, Matt Sheen of Locked On Spartans. We do this, whether you guys like it or not, 5 days a week. Jacob, Hoosier Nation, have a great weekend. Again, outside the hours of 3:30 to 7 Eastern time, roughly. And then good luck the rest of the season. And Spartan fans, guys, you already know I love you. I'm sorry for the negativity there. But, hey, if I'm wrong, you can catch me in the post-game show and throw all sorts of eggs in my face. I will gladly gobble them all up. All right, guys. Till next time. See you all later.